You might recognize some of these faces. I was going to do a little overview of 2021 to get us started here. And I wish that we were all in person, that we were giving you live music, feeding you pizza and homemade cookies. But instead, you have to just go and eat your pizza at home by yourself. But you're not really by yourself because you're here with us tonight. So thank you all for coming. Feel free to interrupt me whenever you want. I know that the last 2 years have been sort of a wild ride, but I know all of you volunteers have been a major bright spot for me and for the rest of the staff this past year. You can also use the chat to message each other if you would like to comment or to comment to everyone or to someone in particular. I'm giving this little presentation. I'm also going to ask a few questions along the way. And so you could test your habitat trivia skills. And then we'll have a chance to chat in small groups. And then we will unveil the winner of this year's Charlie Klem Getting It Done Award. You have all been doing it. All right, I already got one chuckle here with this photo, huh? So you've all been doing an amazing job keeping it together this year with zip tape and with jokes, with good humor and hard work, and you've been kept habitat building. You've kept our records up to date and our mailings in order and our future homeowners supported on their path to homeownership. In January 2021, volunteers were building in Shutesbury and on Lot 1 in Glendale Road in Northampton, all wearing masks and still working in small crews. The safety committee consulted with experts, and volunteer Billy Pennington found us these cool ventilation fans to keep things safe inside. I think people have said they look like some sort of Dr. Seuss contraption. What ventilation, distancing, we're really doing everything we could to make sure the building kept going and everyone stayed safe. And the Zoom meetings, we still got to see some of your smiles on all our Zoom meetings, from the build teams to committee meetings. And it was a great way for us to keep in touch, lower our carbon footprint by not driving all over the valley to meet with each other, and still get to stay up to date on the work of Habitat. So I'm going to try and ask you my first question here. And oh, I think I did it wrong. I was supposed to, I haven't, hold on a second. Yeah, I've got them with all the questions in one poll instead of in different polls. Oh, all right, technical difficulties. Hold on one second. Well, I'm going to ask you this first question verbally. How many people do you think served on a committee in 2021? Anyone got a guess?
Every committee?
Yeah, every committee. How many did we have, you think?
35.
60.
100.
100?
70.
75. But
All right, these are pretty good guesses here. Hold on. So the answer was 81. So you guys were not
Great.
there were you were
Nice.
in the right ballpark there. And all right, let's see.
Is that 81 different people or 81 members of
Good
various
question.
All right, so who's gonna see if they know the answer to that question? Jess, can you chime in?
I believe it is actually 81 different people.
That's what I think.
Wow. That's great.
So of course, that means there are several among that number who are on multiple committees.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so here you go. Now that's a test to see your memory. So now you get to answer the question.
I got that one right.
We got it.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right, you got, this is pretty good. It's pretty smart crowd here. You know that you know I can't fool you. All right, so I guess I'm going to end the poll, and we're going to do a few more of these as we go. But I might need a little need to pause to get it set up right, because I realized I didn't. Anyways, but you guys are still seeing the presentation here with the screen, so let's go keep going. So we had these amazing volunteers on 81 people on committees, and we had our construction volunteers out there cutting lumber and keeping things tidy. Well, it wasn't always tidy, but you guys got it there. Thank you so much. And then working together. I love this moment of putting the last piece of vinyl siding up with the homeowner,
Yeah.
signed by that crew. Getting all the details just right until everything looked perfect. And the homeowners moved in.
Wow.
You guys know which houses these were, right?
Yeah.
Shutesbury.
Yeah. And while those houses in Northampton and Shrewsbury were finishing up, site work began in Pelham. Not without incident. We found an underground oil tank on site, but the good news is it didn't leak. And we were able to get it removed. So that was an unwelcome surprise, but things still kept minor delays, and then work began. So I'm gonna pull up.
Megan,
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else is using a phone on iPhone. I'm using an iPhone, and I don't know. Usually, I can see when you're doing images, but I didn't see the second question, and I'm not seeing the homes that you're talking about. So I don't know if that's possible. It might be me. Maybe I need to get out of the. Maybe there's someplace else I need to be other than seeing. I can only see like 4 people at a time, but I wasn't seeing the images you were showing. So if anybody knows if I'm doing something wrong or if it's not a possibility tonight. So.
Any
I was
expert
able
on
to see
using a
everything.
phone?
I think you can change
Jonathan is.
the view.
Maybe you're on speaker view, Betty Lynn?
Yeah.
Let me look under, let's see. When I go to the chat, it gives me options. It says request live translation, meeting settings, minimize meeting, disconnect audio. 1 second, meeting settings. Oh, no, that's just a general thing. Does it say? No, that's set up, I think. Maybe it's not a possibility. I have seen it when I've been on other Zooms, but I think that involves, you're not doing a split screen. Is that right, Megan?
Yeah, I was just sharing right now. I'm just sharing all your wonderful faces. So you might be trying to do it, and there is nothing up there right now. So,
well, no, it was when you were in the midst. There we go. So right now I have only your face on the screen. So let me see if maybe that's it. Next time you show a picture, now that I have it on whoever's speaking, although Sheila's on my phone right now and nobody else, but we'll see.
Oh.
Hi, Sheila.
yeah, so these Zoom things are not without their technical difficulties, right here. Well, I want to ask you guys, without sharing this presentation again, I'm going to ask you one more. I'm going to ask you another set of questions here. So let's see. Here are 2 more questions about the Pelham build for you to answer. So let's see who can get these trivia questions right.
Oh, man. How many sheets of XPS?
53.
All right,
Oh.
make your
Oh.
choice. We'll see who can get the most answers right.
I think they're both 53.
You think it's a trick
Three
question,
sheets.
huh?
How big are those sheets of XPS?
4x8.
Yeah, what size are we talking?
Oh,
And that's a good clarifying question there, LeVay.
Does that have anything to do with the buried oil tank? Or is that a totally different?
Totally different. It's what the insulation is that we put down underneath the slabs.
Oh,
All right. Has everyone answered who would like to answer?
Can you just click on it? Oh, you can. Oh,
Yeah,
great.
click on it.
Just
Oh, there
click
you
on it.
go.
It'll click on it. It'll record your answer.
mhm.
All right.
where's Lindsay?
And the answer is?
Okay. Let's see. All right. Well, here's what you guys thought. The answer is we had 53 applications for the 2 houses in Pelham. But it took 92 sheets of insulation to insulate those foundations. So
Wow.
it was, I guess, a trick question. Who knew, right? So
I got it
Pretty-
right, and I didn't even work on the Palm House.
it was pretty remarkable to have 53 families who were looking for a home here. So, all right, sorry. We'll have to skip ahead here a little bit. All right, we're keeping things tidy. We're down. Here's the oil tank. And that picture on the left, that blue stuff, that's the XPS, the 92 sheets they laid in the hot summer sun. And there they are, the volunteers digging holes for the foundation piers. Some pretty impressive work for outdoors.
Mm.
Wow. And by June, once the vaccination rollout was well underway, office volunteers began to return to help with administrative tasks and to help clean up, and masks came off for outdoor construction work. And after almost a year of having only weekday regulars on site, we started having small groups from UMass, F45, and other team build groups. And our orientation volunteers were very busy leading volunteer orientations for new volunteers. Did you know that it's volunteers that do orientations for new volunteers? That's how good you guys are. And using a beautiful new slideshow to entice those would-be volunteers. All right, I've got one more question for you about all these volunteers here. So here, make a couple more choices here. Get to make some more guesses. How many new volunteers attended an orientation?
I'm sorry, I can get out. No, it's no problem. I don't have it. Okay.
Number 2, does it mean new or just in general?
In general, how many different people signed up in 2021 for construction shifts?
Wow.
And how many hours were logged in volunteer up?
That's not a question on the sheet here.
Yeah.
Oh,
if
it
you
is. It's
scroll
the
down-
third. Well, you got 3 questions.
Third one.
Keep scrolling down.
Oh, yeah,
Scroll down, you'll find it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see, yeah.
Oh, hey. Sorry.
All right. Has everyone answered? Who wants to answer?
Yeah.
Now, let's see. Well, so the answers are, there were 89 new volunteers who attended an orientation last year. So
Great.
you guys underestimated the interest there a little bit. And then there were 86 volunteers who signed up in 2021. So including some of those newbies and the regulars. And the number of hours logged and volunteer up on the construction sites, 7,968.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, that one.
2 out of 3.
Which is pretty darn impressive.
Very good.
That's humbling.
And the Pelham houses are looking fabulous. Look at the great progress that has been made with those nearly 8,000 hours of volunteer work. Hospitality volunteers have started bringing treats. Family support mentors have been helping track sweat equity, and the hammers keep swinging. We said goodbye to 2 great staff people, and we want to thank them for their hard work. I was really missing Lindsay when I was putting together this presentation because she did such a great job of it last year. But we're really grateful they've both decided to volunteer with us as well. We also said goodbye to the Habitruck.
Oh,
But luckily, Gene Palmer and a few others were not to be dissuaded and found us a new truck. So this is the old one, and this is our new one with the nice rack that Gene installed. And
Walt.
And Walt, all right. It's always good to correct and give credit to all the volunteers here. So I really appreciate the fact that you guys didn't really take, I just said it was going to be a while, you know, there was no way we were going to find a truck in this market of used vehicles. And they persisted. They said, you know, I think we got to keep our eye out and see if we can find the next Habitruck. The original Habitruck was given to us, I think, well, MJ's much better. She told this story very well at our annual meeting, and so we'll have to get that one out again. But it's been with us for a long time. It was destined to be demolished many years ago. I think after an accident, it was going to be, but then it was donated to us and we kept it going. So we have this good record here with trucks, apparently. So I'm going to ask one more question here about the truck. Let's see. All right, what do you guess for, what do you think the years are of the original Habitruck and the new Habitruck? The new Habitruck.
Years.
1989.
I know, it's a good question. I was alluding to the age of these trucks, but it's hard to say. All right, are you ready to have the answer revealed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a 1997 and a 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Most
You guys
people
did pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Seems like most of you got that one.
At least you didn't ask about the age of the volunteers.
Yeah. I agree.
Oh.
Oh, is that a delicate subject? I don't know. I think the more years, the more that's a vintage. Things get better with age, right?
That would be a good statistic, though. If you did maybe did an average or something, although the UMass students would bring the average age down quite a bit.
That's true. They might.
Maybe you could do with and without the UMass.
Minimum and maximum.
I think another question is, how many of us ever drove the Habitruck?
Oh, that's a good question.
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Did
I
it fill
drove
up
it
with
once.
suspension then?
To Miller's, was it Miller's Falls? Yeah, which is the place up north of Sunderland. If you keep going up.
Turner's Falls.
Turner's Falls. I drove it to Turner's Falls. I was a nervous wreck. But we both got there safely.
Well, I'm glad that you made it in one piece, Sheila. Well, so we said goodbye to the Habitruck, but you guys didn't stop signing up on Volunteer Up. I do have, these are my last two questions here for our trivia quiz, but I'm gonna ask, so you guys get to do one more quiz.
Ooh.
Which 3 volunteers have been registered in Volunteer Up since November 2006 and still have active accounts?
Oh,
Wow, that's awesome.
2006.
Carol Burnett?
Carol King?
Oh my God.
I mean, all the Carols are famous in their own way here.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh.
And there's a second question of to see what you how many hours you think Walt Kohler logged single-handedly in 2021?
Not possible to estimate that, I don't
And
think.
that's law, right?
A lot.
Logged, not the ones he did at home, planning things in advance, or
I'm
Wondering if Walt knows the answer to the question.
right?
I don't.
All right,
I have
those
no
are
idea.
those have to be your best guesses. All right, I don't know who thinks that Carol King was a volunteer here, but no, the answer is George Hollywood, Melissa Woodward, and Carol Manning
Yeah.
still have accounts on Volunteer Up since
Yeah.
active since 2006. And Walt has logged more than 500 hours
Wow.
on the construction site. So that
Unbelievable.
not just you know, from those are not
Yeah.
all his hours. You guys kindly noted those are just the ones that he's logged.
Wow.
So all right, here, I don't know how
Real
to,
hours are probably double that
yeah, I know, right?
or more.
He's amazing.
So I'm sorry, I don't know how to start it from the where I left off, but here we go. I'm skipping ahead. So here it is, our construction honor roll, because Walt was in good company. These are all the construction volunteers that did more than 100 hours
Wow.
logged in Volunteer Up. And if we could have an honor roll for our committees and office volunteers, but like those hours the Walt puts in for planning, we don't have a record keeping system for all those. Those are all off the book hours. These are just the hours where people logged into Volunteer Up. It's a pretty impressive list.
Yes.
I'll say.
Yeah.
And I have more pictures of the houses under construction and hours tracked for the construction volunteers, but please don't underestimate. You can tell by this list of committees, by the 81 different people who are part of committee work, that this is a very important part of the work that we do. It's what can make a staff of 4 or 5 do the work of a construction company, a bank, a social service agency, and more. There's also all the, I said special ops because some people don't even serve on committees, but just show up and get things done. Whether it's in the office or George Hollywood going shopping with the homeowners, or Lucia organizing things, or our friends at Lathrop community doing mailings. There's a long list of people who lend a hand. So you guys should all be very proud of what you've accomplished this past year and the immense amount of time and effort that has gone into this. And I've been talking at you long enough, and you guys
Great.
chimed in a little bit, but we wanted to just take 5 minutes to sort of use one of these Zoom tools to send you off into what are called breakout rooms. So you get to talk to a couple of volunteers and share with them how you became a Habitat volunteer, or share a Habitat memory, something that inspired you or made you laugh. So I'm gonna send you off for just 5 minutes, but then you have to come back because we are going to be presenting the Charlie Klem Getting It Done Award after you come back. So you get your 5 minutes of chit chat, and then we'll come back all together. So let me send you off into your breakout rooms here. Anybody have any questions about that? It'll automatically send you back when the 5 minutes is up.
We'll
How
see.
fast?
You'll see, you don't trust it. That's a.
Haven't done this.
If I
one
knew what
before.
I was doing, I would trust it.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we'll just all get assigned to a room, and then we'll come back in a few minutes. All right, here we go.
Very easy.
Again.
Okay. All right.
Pittsburgh as it is here, but he's probably had a long day. But he loves the city, and his first experience was with his grandfather Charlie and his mother Pam in Honduras when they were down in Honduras in 2016. And he thought this was a really cool thing, and he has seen a lot of the local area Pioneer Valley projects too. But Charlie would be very proud of him. So that's the day he started today. And I think it's an appropriate day for me to address the Charlie Klem Getting It Done Award. And should I just keep going and
yeah, feel free to
you the recipient, or is that not my role right now?
I think
What
it's
about
your
it?
role. I think
That's
you can,
my role. Okay.
That's your role.
You can hand off the envelope. The envelope, please.
So the envelope came from Price Waterhouse, and the reason I say that is that was my husband's first job, was with Price Waterhouse in Boston. And I always thought that was a neat thing when we watched the Academy Awards. Anyway, I digress. This year, we present the 2021 award to Lynn Petty. And here's a little background about her.
Oh, and where is Lynn?
As the calendar flipped from the 1980s to the 1990s, a lot of history was made. The Mall of America opened in Minnesota. Euro Disney opened in France. eBay and Google were founded. So they weren't always with us. Boy, 11 countries began to use the euro as their currency. And the median home value in the United States at the opening of the decade, are you ready for this? This should have been part of our game. The median home value was $79,100. Wow. And over the course of the decade, it rose to $119,600. And Lynn Petty brought her time, talents, and energy to bear on the fledgling Pioneer Valley Habitat, dedicated to making home ownership available to more families in Hampshire and Franklin counties. Back in the 90s, it was all hands on deck as the Young Habitat affiliate in Western Mass, 100% volunteer-run enterprise, began to work with aspiring homeowners to build the first Habitat homes in this region. And Lynn spent those early years on the fundraising committee, chaired back then by the iconic and dynamic George duo, first George Goodwin and then George Ryan. Lynn and her longtime pal, Sharon Moulton, oversaw the subcommittee that ensured that regular and major donors got personal attention and thanks for their foundational support. Hours and hours of letters and calls and meeting with donors. When Pioneer Valley Habitat made the shift to a professional organization with paid staff, Lynn immediately volunteered to work in the office and has been a major support to all office functions ever since. But office volunteer does not adequately characterize the many ways Lynn contributes to this affiliate. She adds thoughtful observations, good sense, and good humor. She's been known to do what it takes to cover every inch of an event space floor before the onslaught of the hordes for the annual gingerbread build on a Saturday, and then show up on Monday morning to help for hours to sort out the aftermath of that event and others. She comes in weekly to do data entry and print thank you letters, making sure Habitat continues to be good stewards of our donations. Lynn Hetty embodies the getting it done spirit that the Charlie Klem Award acknowledges, and we are grateful for her mighty contributions over decades to Pioneer Valley Habitat for Humanity.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
That's great.
And is Sharon here today?
Sharon's here.
Yes.
Sharon, would you like to say a few words about Lynn as well?
Well, a lot of my words got said because I talked to Amy for about a half an hour.
I hope I
great.
represented you well.
Yes, you did. It's
Okay.
just that in terms of that George Goodwin and George Ryan were presidents of the board when that meant running the whole thing because we were all volunteer. But it was George Goodwin who was the iconic fundraising chair for so many years. And that, I mean, it was a really, really important friendship for me with Lynn because I finally found somebody interested in sports.
Well, I saw Lynn this morning and she came in to process some checks and tell me about how she was watching sports all weekend. So some things don't change. So we are supremely grateful to Lynn, to all of you. And I am just thrilled to be a part of an organization where people care about each other, care about our neighbors. And, you know, houses aren't $79,000 a year anymore, but even when they were, they still weren't affordable for everyone. And everyone in this room has said, you know, it's not okay that our neighbors can't have that same stability that home ownership can provide and that lasting impact that it can make for a family for generations to be able to have some place to call home where the rent's not going to be raised. You're not going to have to move because the landlord decides to sell. You can have some place that's safe, that it's worth investing in to make sure that it's healthy. And I think over these last 2 years. All right, so my family decided to make a smoothie right when I'm giving a speech here, but but I was trying to wrap it up so that I could just say thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you are doing for home ownership in the Valley. I'm gonna leave you. I don't know if there's that officially ends our program for this evening. If there's anyone who had a really good story from their breakout group that they wanted to share, you know, feel free to chime in, but also go have your dinner for this evening. Thank you for coming. And I'm sure I hope to see all your faces again soon.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Megan.
Megan.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks
Megan.
all.
Thank you, Megan.
Good turnout.
Thanks, Megan.
If there's
Bye-bye.
anybody who wants to stay on, I didn't get a chance to tell my most moving habitat story, which is when Millard Fuller, the founder of Habitat, came up to Amherst for our ceremony when we became affiliated. And somebody asked him about Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter's, and he told us about like, they knew each other, you know, because they're both from Georgia and they both, so he had this idea of getting the president who was then the retired president to help. And so he talked to him, he said, yeah, I really think I'd like to do that. Let me know, you know, what I could do. And Millard wrote this list with like 8, you know, at least 8 things on it, thinking he'd pick 1 or 2. And when he gave the list to President Carter, he said, oh, I'm going to cry. He said, oh, I'll be happy to do all those things.
Oh, that's nice.
Included the
That's
habitat builds that he's been doing ever since. So, and that's a really important habitat story about how much people want to help.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know I've seen it. All the things that you guys do. So thank you. That's a good story, Sharon.
And
Yeah,
folks
It
probably
is a
know
great
that
story.
there still is the Jimmy Carter Work Week that, you know, he and Rosalind go out and swing a hammer and folks
That's right.
join them, you know, on their annual build. And a few years back, MJ was on the build, our former executive director, and she was given or somehow got a Carter Work Project hard hat, which Lucia will be putting into a display in the windows of Broadside Bookshop in early
great.
February. So
That's
if you want
good.
to swing by and see a Carter Work Week official hard hat, it will be in the window of that store in Northampton.
Awesome.
Great.
Wow.
That's a good story.
Thank you,
Very,
Sharon.
very good story.
Thank you for all your hard work, everyone.
And you
Thank
too.
you.
Bye-bye.
And
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Try to
Bye, all.
behave.
Oh, really?